I noticed at one point you responded to her when you were the giraffe earlier by saying something like, you want me to know that my behavior in the past has contributed to your pain. So something like that.
It was a stimulus. Contributed but didn't cause. See,
Yeah.
it's a stimulus.
That was my question. In my mind, that's always a slippery slope in this kind of dialogue.
It's a very slippery slope. The main thing is that I be conscious that I'm never the cause of the other person's pain, but I do want to take responsibility for my behavior. See, I'm responsible for what I did. The other person's responsible for how they took it.
Okay.
And that's a slippery thing. That's a very important thing, to keep that consciousness of what we are responsible for and what we cannot be responsible for. The very word responsible means response-able, able to respond. So I cannot take responsibility for something over which I have no control. So I cannot control how the other person takes what I do, which will affect how they feel. So I'm not responsible for that. But I am responsible for what I did.
And if she were wanting in that moment for you to, in some way, acknowledge that what you did, you know, if she persisted in kind of trying to get you to say you're sorry or acknowledge that you did something to hurt me or whatever.
I want you to acknowledge that, you're responsible for my pain. Yeah. So you'd like some understanding for how painful this has been for you. More than that, I want you to see how you were responsible for it. Yes. You would like me to acknowledge that my behavior stimulated what happened, was the stimulus for what happened.
Okay.
Yes. No, I want you to see that you're the cause of my feelings.
You hurt me.
You hurt me. Yes. You want me to see the role that my behavior played in your feeling hurt.
Okay.
I'm willing to see it. It was a stimulus, but and you see, once I have this clear, I will never have to say, I'm not the cause of your feeling. I'm not responsible. See, I'm only saying that when I'm just getting this myself and I'm becoming conscious of how much of my life I've been tyrannized by other people's feelings. And so when we're breaking out of that prison, then you hear a person going through a stage I call emotionally obnoxious. You see, emotional slavery is when they feel responsible for other people's feelings. And then when they start to get a glimmer of how much of their life they're not leading by feeling responsible for others, they get this freedom. And then somebody else says, I'm frustrated that you didn't... Oh, I'm not responsible for your feelings. Well...
What if you did lose your temper and you were responsible for those?
No. You couldn't hurt another person if you tried. I'm serious. You cannot hurt a person even if your intention is. For example, hurt me. Go ahead, hurt me.
Well, this is all good in the academic, but it doesn't work in the real world.
Yes. And if I hear what you said, I would be hurt. But that would be my choice, to hear what you said rather than what I was hearing was in your heart. If I hear what's in your heart, I'm not going to get hurt by that. I'll see an opportunity to learn something precious from it.
Yeah, but what if I lose my temper with my kid who doesn't have the maturity to separate my action?
He's still responsible for taking it as he does, technically responsible, but you are responsible for saying what you did. Especially if you know that he's a child that may not have giraffe ears, you're responsible for why you would say that, given that you have a pretty good prediction he's going to hear it with jackal ears. But the child is still the only one to control how he takes it. It was still his actions, his hearing it and believing it, that's the cause of his pain. We can show 3, 4, 5-year-olds how to deal with a father like that.
Well, when is my internal jackal just good superego to realize that I should be more sensitive to my kids' natural immaturity to take something?
That's the responsibility I'd like you to be looking at. So I'd like you to look at then why you are not changing your behavior. And then I'll work with the child in showing him what he can do even if you don't change. I don't want him to think that his security rests on whether you change or not.